Condor on the beat, bro. Hey, you hear that shit? That's the tick. Hey, two maintainers on the mic, slam dunk, glass break. Hold a crypto Twitter watches cooking on the fast break. Stop lost tight as a noose, op liquidated quick. FTX style, exit pack the bag and dodge a brick. Cold wallet lock, C phrase tuck, no slipping in the system. Pop release every month, framework keep shipping on rhythm. Tick, tick the agent looping on repeat, no sleep. Open source, no paywall. Closed source, got the cold feet. They buy like us, ay, they buy like us. They bought like us, Argentina to Cali. Ay, they buy like us, ay, they profit like us. Open claw on email, that's a chore, that's a bore. Condo on the trading floor, bitch, we built it for more. Discord gurus charging $250 a month for signals. Meanwhile, we drop the framework free. Fuck the rituals, PM and Mr. got take profit, stop loss, position hold. Market don't reverse, motherfucker, we ain't dumping the gold. 6 dudes at Hummingbot running the whole damn thing. Open source Bloomberg, bitch, that's the AI trading king. They bought like us, ay, they buy like us. They bought like so to Sao Paulo. Ay, they buy like us. Ay, they profit like us. Buy like us, buy like us. Tokyo to Lagos on Condor right now. Buy like us, buy like us. Mumbai to Lisbon, feeling on the cloud. Buy like us. Start a fucking repo, MIT, license loud. Buy like us. Closed source haters can't fuck with the crowd. They buy like us. Ay, they buy like us. They bought like Berlin to Bangkok. Ay, they buy like us. They profit like us. Friday, non-Pacific. Bought like us. Bot is open source. Ay, so pull up. Bought like us.
Welcome everyone to the sponsored workshop for Derive. My name is Michael. I'm one of the co-founders of Hummingbot, an open source project that helps you build algo trading bots on any centralized or decentralized exchange. Really proud to have Kset from Derive on the line. She heads up partnerships at Derive. How's it going?
Great.
So yeah, I think yeah. So actually, should I call you Kset or your first name? I'm not sure how anon you want to stay. Okay, all right. So yeah, so Kset's anon, but yeah, as it goes in crypto, I think a lot of people are. So fully respect that, and I want to make sure that we actually try to cover as much as we can today on how the hackathon works. The tool that you'll be using to build agents for the hackathon, which is called Condor, our new agentic harness. And of course, what makes Derive unique as an exchange, which Kset will cover. So let's get started. I see some folks listening on our various channels, both YouTube, Twitch, as well as everything else. So I see lots of comments already. Feel free to drop questions in wherever you are, and I'll try to post them up on the screen, and either me or Kset will try to answer them. All right, so before I get started, just wanted to say really proud to be here. This is our third sponsored workshop. We're running a month-long hackathon that to really try to get people to try out our new agentic harness, Condor, and to build agents using Condor that can run on any of the exchanges that Hummingbot supports. Just a couple, I'll give a quick explainer on what Condor is, how the hackathon works, and I'll now pass it to Kset to talk about Derive. So at Hummingbot, we've been around for a long time, about 7 years, which is like an eternity in crypto. But our goal has always been to just try to build free open source software that allows anyone in the world to do sophisticated algo trading, market making, arbitrage, and any other strategy they want on any exchange or blockchain. So I think a lot of people have used Hummingbot. I think last year over $30 billion volume was traded using our software. But to be honest, like we've always felt that Hummingbot was kind of hard to use, because you had to write Python code, you had to understand these really complex strategies. And so we've been looking for a while at what's happening in the AI world to see how can we use AI to allow anyone in the world to truly use Hummingbot technology. And so you don't even have to know how to write code or be a master quant to use it. And so that's why we started working on this thing called Condor a few months ago. What Condor is, it's a harness similar to like OpenClaw or Hermes that sits on top of Hummingbot as an execution layer, and it uses a LM, either Claude or Codex, but whatever LM you want to use to help you use Hummingbot more easily. So I'll show you how you can basically just talk to Condor and get it to build pretty sophisticated strategies running using Hummingbot later on in this workshop. And then so in order to promote this, we're trying to, to be honest, we've always just been building public. And so, I think Condor, while it's still a work in progress, we think that it's possible already to people to build pretty sophisticated, to build strategies. So we're running a hackathon in conjunction with Derive and a few other exchange sponsors to try to get people to build it. So I'll share my screen just real quick and show how this works. Basically, we have a hackathon going on right now. The hackathon, if you go to botcamp.xyz, you can sign up and register for the hackathon. There's over $20,000. Am I sharing? Yeah, I'm sharing, right? Yes, I am sharing. Okay, great. Yeah, so there's over $20,000 in the prize pool. We have 7 sponsors, one of whom is ourselves, and each sponsor will pick 2 agents to compete for them. So here are the 2 agents that will compete for Hummingbot as a host team in the competition phase. So basically, the way it works is that right now, from now until the end of the month, anyone can register, anyone can build a strategy, and then you'll apply your strategy to one of the sponsor teams. After the end of the month in September, we will work with each sponsor team to select the 2 agents that they want to compete for them. And then in the beginning of October, we will run each of the selected agents, our own infrastructure, using our own capital, and run them in a sandbox environment for 48 hours. And we'll evaluate the winners based on how much P&L they generate, how much volume they generate, and there's also a qualitative voting component. So here are the 7 sponsors. For us, we've already selected the 2 agents that will represent us because these were the winners of our cohort 13. We do regular cohorts to teach people how to build strategies using Hummingbot. But then there's open slots for each of the other agents, and the agents have also defined kind of the criteria they're looking for when they're for their agents. So for example, Derive has added some selection criteria here in terms of what they're looking for in terms of strategies. And I think because Derive, not to spoil things, but they have a really unique on-chain options protocol. I think they're also looking for strategies that might involve options in some way. So yeah, check out the Botcamp site, check out how you can register for the hackathon. And I think it'll be a great way for you to learn how to build proper HFT strategies while also making some money. I'll touch on briefly how the prizes work. So basically, during the hackathon phase, anyone can build and supply and submit strategies to the different sponsors. For each selected agent, you will receive $800 in starting capital. And then if you make money over the competition period or lose money, you get to keep whatever results from that initial $800. In addition, there's another about $10,000 in a prize pool that we're going to give to the actual top agents in the competition. So the first prize, I believe, is $5,000. Second prize is $2,000. Third prize is another $1,000, and also we have some honorable mentions as well. So basically, the scoring is based on volume, P&L, and voting. But for now, I would say my recommendation is I would focus initially just on trying to build a strategy which you think will be attractive to the agents. To the sponsors, because I do think there's a lot of marketing potential that we can deliver for each of our sponsors. So try to make a really good video. Try to explain how your strategy works. And then if you need to tune certain things, we can help you tune them during the selection phase. So yeah, real quick, that was just a quick overview of the hackathon. And then let me turn it now to KSAT. So Derive has been a longtime partner of the Hummingbot Foundation. I think we built a connector to Derive last year for spot and options, or I'm sorry, for spot and perpetual. So now people can run the same strategies they're running on, let's say, Binance on Derive. But can you tell the audience a bit more about Derive and kind of like what makes Derive unique as an exchange?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here and connect with everybody. I guess my first point of order, your intro song is awesome. That was so cool. I feel like we really need one of those for all of our Derive podcasts and things. So yeah, excited to be here. Definitely been a long time partner of Hummingbot. I know I personally led the charge to get you guys integrated for a long time, and very excited. It's been a super successful partnership. Hummingbot's like one of our biggest API brokers and refers, so super happy to support and to see you guys keep innovating. Derive, in its own right, we are the leading on-chain options exchange. So we have about 90% of the on-chain options volume any given day. We've been in production for about 5 years now, and we offer, not only options, but spot markets and perpetual futures. So one of, I guess, like the really unique things about Derive is sort of the trading environment. So, not only do you have different instruments that you can use, you're also able to use things like multi-asset collateral. So our quote assets are in USDC, but you can use all different types of collateral. So ETH, BTC, Hype has been really popular, as well as some of the liquid staking derivatives for all of those assets and other yield-bearing coins. So that's, I think, one of the things that we mentioned in the context of the competition that we're looking for is, utilizing the multi-asset collateral, you can't actually execute the options, but the ability to utilize option data and signals and order flow in a strategy, can be super informative to, make trading decisions off of. And then, because our traders, our market makers get portfolio margin across all of these assets, we see a really unique environment, particularly in the perps, that's going to be different than what you get on any other exchange. So you might see, the entire market on Binance and Hyperliquid on Bybit skewing one way, and Derive perps are in some ways like a little bit oblivious to broader market structures, because if everyone has on a certain option position and they're hedged on Derive perps, that can push the premium and discount and the funding in a certain direction, and hopefully open up some profitable opportunities for, arbitrage bots and people that come in and correct perp funding. We've got a bunch of new assets that are live too. So Tether Gold is XAUT, Zcash, and Hyperliquid has been a really big market for ours as well. So continue to see some growth and traction, and appreciate you guys participating and in making that happen.
Thanks. Yeah, and intro music. I wish I had more time because I should have actually done a custom Derive song for this, workshop. I'll try to do one
next time.
Do another one in the future.
Next time.
Well, thanks for the intro on Derive. And maybe one question is, I think you guys have really focused on options. Do you see a lot of users on Derive kind of trade both options as well as perpetuals? Like, are they doing kind of strategies that are using both markets?
Yeah, there's actually a ton of strategies that you can do across them. So like the first one would be just a hedging strategy. Certainly at any point where, I guess there's kind of 3 points where you see big trades come from the option side. First would be if we have a big RFQ or a block trade, some really large size, we tend to see market makers come out and hedge. The second would be on market moves. So anytime that there's a material move in the market that changes your position and your underlying exposure from the options, and that kind of triggers people to hedge. And then the third would be at option expiration. Those trades expire, traders unwind, rebalance their positions, initiate new positions, and generally hedge again. So we do see a lot of that. I guess the other piece is that we really have a full-blown clearing and margin system that lives on chain. So, not only can you do options, you can do things like basis trades. So that's been pretty popular with some of the ETH LRTs and different yield-bearing assets. You can borrow USDC in the system against multi-asset collateral. You can do strategies that loop and leverage those trades as well. So we have some people that will put on a basis trade, borrow USDC, swap into additional spot, you put on basis trade again and keep going. So yeah, lots of unique strategies that are apparent because all of these pieces kind of fit under one margin house.
Okay. Let me bring up one comment from the audience. I think I do have a question here. I'm not sure if this really applies, but I'll show it anyway. So it looks like liquidated HL asks when physical delivery. Is that something that's on the roadmap or no?
Maybe. I would say it is on the roadmap. It's something that we consistently talk about. It comes up from time to time. I'm sorry that you were liquidated on Hyperliquid. That's a bummer. I hope your positions have improved. But it's definitely something that we're looking at. We have a new version coming out. I think it might be post that new version. We're working on what exactly that implementation looks like and when exactly it fits into the roadmap. But yeah, come trade on Derive and let's connect about it. Love to hear what you need.
And then one final question for me. This might be helpful for the folks doing the hackathon. I know you guys want to try to use options data in some way. Is there like an API or kind of something like that where people can get access to options data on Derive?
Yeah, you can see all of the order flow that's coming through and executed trades both through RFQ and on the order book that are going on Derive via API. So you should be able to, pull those into your strategy as well.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can try that later on during the workshop phase of it and try to see if we can incorporate some options data into one of the agents.
Cool. That sounds great.
All right. Well, let's get things moving. So let me share my screen and I'll walk you through how Condor works and how we can create an agent on Derive using Condor. So so this is Condor itself. The main thing you're going to see when you start off is this agent tab. But before we go to the interface, let me quickly show you how you can start from scratch and get set up. So I would recommend watching this YouTube video that we just posted. I'll actually have our team post it in the comments on this video. But we just posted a video today where our CTO Fede walks through how to set up Condor and how to use it from scratch like this. So this video is pretty new, but I think this will be very helpful for folks who are just getting set up. He walks through installation, how the web dashboard works, how to connect one exchange Hyperliquid, how to create a routine, deploying grid, and then finally deploying an agent. So I think this is kind of like this is really kind of like a good video if you're just getting new, if you're new and you're just getting set up. So let me actually post this in one of the YouTube chats here. 1 second. I'll post it in the YouTube chat. But this video, I think I would highly recommend watching this video to get set up. I'm going to start from a place where we have already installed Condor because I want to make sure we have enough time to do the workshop part. So basically we have Condor here, and the main commands you'll be running are things like make run in order to run it. But I always recommend running this make install command in order to see exactly to make sure you've installed all the dependencies. And you can also, this is also a good place where you can change your model and which LLM you're going to be using with it. Overall, Condor has a 2-server architecture. So you think of it as like Condor is like the front end, and the back end is this thing called Hummingbot API, which usually runs on localhost 8000 if you have it set up correctly. So you can also just access localhost 8000/docs to see exactly all the API endpoints that are available. But you can see like the API is very powerful because it basically allows you to do anything on any exchange, any blockchain. You can kind of connect accounts to it. You can do individual trades. You can run bots. You can add liquidity. And so you can do lots of really powerful things. But of course, as a human, you might be a bit overwhelmed. So that's why we created Condor, because Condor, it has an MCP server that has tools that knows how to call all of these different endpoints. And then so when you provide this MCP server to your harness, now your harness can use an LLM to help you do all of these things. So the first thing you want to do when you run Condor make install is select the model that you'll be using with Condor. Our recommendation is that you don't use something like Opus or Fable because while they're heavier, they're more, quote, more intelligent. They're also slower and consume a lot more tokens. Our recommended default, if you're using Claude, is Sonnet. And if you're using ChatGPT, Codex, you probably want to use Terra or Luna instead of Sol. So let's go ahead and select our model, which is going to be Sonnet. And now it will do some other steps like making sure that you've installed the API and running any other dependencies that you may have. But after you've done the installation step, you should be able to just run make run in order to set up Condor. So I do apologize. I do see a question in the audience, which is someone who says, please, he's new. Can I get more explanation of everything? Just to kind of maybe take it on a higher level. I would say if you're interested in kind of learning more about how everything works, you probably want to go to a website called condor.hummingbot.org. And this kind of really explains what Condor is, how you can use it, and how it all ties together. And then the other website I would recommend is we do have some information on the Hummingbot YouTube overall, which is like you search for Hummingbot, just on explanations like on what is market making, what is algo trading, and how can an individual actually compete with other market makers and large players. There's because I want to make sure we actually cover all the information that people out there want. I'm not going to get into all the basics, but overall, I think if you just start with some of the Condor website or the Hummingbot YouTube, I think you'll get an understanding for how it all works. All right, so now that we've done the installation step here, let's type make run over here in Condor and get it set up. Now, one thing that you'll note once you go through the setup process is that the first thing you'll do is set up a Telegram token. And the reason you want to set up a Telegram token is because Condor is both a Telegram interface as well as a web interface. We do that because we're essentially using the authentication mechanism from Telegram to keep everything secure. So if you've done things correctly, what you'll see is Condor is online and ready here in Condor. And now you can use the Condor as through the Telegram. This actually is pretty useful for if you're on the go and you're just using it on your phone. But if you're on your desktop, you probably want to open the web dashboard. So you type in web here. You get a URL which has the login token already. And now we can just go and open it up, the web dashboard here like this. So the first thing you probably want to do is just ask Condor what it can do. So the agents tab here shows the Condor and all the different agents available. Note that all of these different agents are simply just folders in the Condor repository. So if we take a look at the repository itself, let's open it up, open up Condor. I'll make the screen a little bigger. So basically this agents directory just contains all the different agents. And we can see that Condor itself is an agent. It has an agent.md file that explains what it can do. And this agent.md file contains the MCP tools it has, and then it also has explanations on exactly what it can do. So what that means is you can actually customize Condor. You can add your own kind of like special sauce into the agent.md file, and you can customize each of these other agents that are currently available here. So first thing you do, like any agent, let me actually let me hide the actual comment here. 1 second. Blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, the first thing we'll do is let's just ask Condor what it can do. I'm actually going to use a voice mode because I don't like typing. And I think one really cool feature of this is that it integrates with an open source model called Whisper that allows you to transcribe your voice and just talk to Condor instead of actually having to type. Hey, Condor, can you tell me what you can do? So first, what it'll do, it will load the MCP tools, which is on the Condor server. And so you can think of Condor as like an AI agent, but because it has this really powerful tool set underneath, it's really a specialized trading agent. So first thing is like you can fetch your portfolio, you can conduct individual trades, you can run bots, or you can basically run customized domain agents. So let me first ask agent what I have in my portfolio. Can you check my connected accounts and tell me what I have in those portfolios? So now Condor is getting the portfolio overview tool. And you can also always like expand and hide these little like thinking areas if you really want to understand what Condor is doing behind the scenes. So you can see here, so I've connected, I have my Solana account here, and then I also have my XRP Ledger account. You can also see this not just from here, but also if you click on the portfolio tab like this. So let's take a look. And you can see, so it has my Solana account, my XRP account. I actually did connect my Derive account as well. But for some reason, it's actually saying 0. I actually don't know why it's saying 0 here, because I did connect my Derive account with my subkeys, but it's possible that I did not do it correctly. So actually, before we do that, let's actually diagnose what's happening with our Derive account to make sure that we can actually properly run agents on Derive. Let me ask agent, let me see. I think I also have my Derive professional account connected. Can you check why I'm showing a balance of 0? Is it just a caching issue, or do I need to re-add my keys? Okay, so it's saying that it does have the Derive connector live. It can fetch prices from Derive, okay, it's connected to each other. The account data is empty. Okay, so wrong sub account. Well, okay, that's true. So okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and actually try to add our Derive keys again, and we can try to see if that actually worked. And actually, I'm glad I have Casey on the line, because you can probably tell me maybe if I'm doing something wrong in adding the keys from Derive. All right, so let me pull up.
Oh no, Derive. live support.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, live support. Yeah. So, but hey, this is a workshop, but hey, we run into issues all the time when we do these live streams. Fade and I have been doing this for a while, and don't worry, our audience is very much used to it. If we can't get it working, I promise we'll redo this part in another workshop later on. But I do think it's very important that we show our users how to actually connect keys to Derive, because this process is something that everyone will have to go through if they want to trade.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So I actually did this right before the call, and to be honest, I actually don't think I did it correctly. So this is a good chance to make sure that I did it correctly. So in Condor, if you want to connect keys, what you want to do is go over here to the gear icon and the keys and wallets tab. If you never added any key before, then it'll prompt you to add it for the first time. So let me actually delete my current keys here, and then we'll go through the process of adding keys again. So if you go through and hit the API key button, this will allow you to connect keys. And so let me add perpetual keys, and I'll select Derive perpetual over here. So here are the fields you need to add a Derive integration and connect to Hummingbot. There's a handy link over here that shows you this is the Derive documentation page on the Hummingbot website. And we can kind of try to follow this process to add keys. And so hopefully Casey can tell me if these docs need updating. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go to actually I'll put this over here, put this over here, and then we'll go to Derive over here and get started. So the first thing we need to do is generate API keys, which I think I've done already. So we have the app, and then I've connected. So I've connected my Derive account, and my account currently has 200 USDC and about $100 of DRV tokens. So I think I should go over here like this, and then go to developers, and then actually, I'm not sure if you know this case, but do I actually need to create a session key in order to use this, or can I use just like my regular MetaMask account?
I think you need to create a session key to use it.
Okay, all right. So let's create a session key. I think this actually shows your use your private key. So it's okay. I'm prepared for this. So I'm going to do this off screen so that no one leaks our keys, which has happened before. And I'm going to create what I'm doing here just oftentimes, I'm clicking this button that says register. Actually, this part's okay. So basically what I'm doing here is this. I'm clicking this button called register session key, and then I'm going to name the session key, generate a public address, and it'll show me the private key here. It's only shown one time, so what I need to do is save this private key somewhere so I can use it later on. And then I need to also define the scope and the days. So for the scope, I probably need to use admin. Is that right?
Yep, admin.
Okay, so and then expiry 30 days. That should be okay. This is just a demo. So let me now move this off screen so I can generate the public key, save the private key, and then generate the key itself. Oh, and then once you do that, you have to sign a message from your main wallet, and then that will generate the key afterwards. All right, so now I think I have generated the key. So come back, and so I just created a key called workshop. This is the public key. I have saved the private key elsewhere, and now I think I'm ready to use this with Condor, correct? Okay. All right. So I think one gotcha here. I think this actually why it took me some time to get this figured out is I think when you do this here, I believe that you actually need to use your wallet key, whereas it says API key, and then you need to use the private key from the session key that you just created here. So let me try that. So this is my wallet key. I'm going to put my wallet key here. Okay, and then I'm taking the private key that I just used when I just created for this workshop session key, and I'm pasting the private key over here. The sub account ID, I believe I need to just have the sub account. I think I can just use this sub account here, which is the, this is my main account, I think. So I will just do that. And then for the account type, I think you have to put either trader or market underscore maker here. I'm actually not sure. Do you know what account type refers to?
Yeah, the account type is whether it's portfolio margin or a standard margin account. So these are both under type. It says standard margin.
Okay, so I should put standard margin here?
Or, yes.
Okay, like just like this, like just copy this and put it in.
It would either be standard margin, or if that doesn't work, maybe just the abbreviation SM. I'm not sure. I haven't used it in.
Okay, well, let's try this. Yeah, you never know until you try. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. So it's doing something. Hopefully, no errors yet, which is a good sign. So let's see. Okay, great. We did add the key successfully to Derive. It was accepted, but the source of truth is really, can we actually see our portfolio here on Derive? So yeah, so this is actually what we did before, and I think my understanding is that because I use this account here, what I should see is this $300 in tokens on my Derive account. It's still 0 here, which is a little odd. Let me ask agents. Let me ask my agent again to see. Let's see. Can you check for me again? I re-added my keys to Derive. Okay. No perpetual. Actually, I wonder if it's on. Do I need to? Actually, let me try one thing, which is I'm actually going to try adding these as spots, because it's possible that I think right now my account balance is in. Are these shared among spot and perpetual? Okay, do you know?
It would be, it's by sub account. So like these assets that you see are in account 1.
Okay. Okay.
But they're not separated
from spot.
Like those are all your, those are your balances. And then if you were to click on the positions is where you would see like your perps or options.
Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, let me try this. I think this actually might be, I think the keys actually were authenticated. Actually, okay. The new keys were picked up, but authentication is failing. Okay, yeah, let me try adding keys to spot and see what happens. Okay, so I'll do the same thing as I did before, which is I will go to developer and I'll add this wallet key here. The private key from before, sub account ID, which is this account 1. Oh, wait one second.
He wants to hear more about Derive.
Yes. Hey, Fede, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yep. Good. Okay. Oh, you put trader here. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Fede. Yeah. Let me. The audience can't really hear you, so I'm gonna drop you off. Actually, yeah. If I really need help, I'm gonna send you the link. You can rejoin the restream link and help us if you want. But yeah, I'll try. I will try this out. Okay. All right. Bye. Yeah, Fede was saying actually I might have actually put in the wrong key, but yeah, let me just try this. I think he also said you want to put in trader here instead of market maker, so I'll try trader, and then we need to add this credential at the spot and see if that fixes things. Let's see. I think he was on Discord here. Okay, yeah. If you say that, yeah, we should add this. We make sure we use a derived wallet. I think actually I think that is what I was using, because here in developer, basically like this I think is your derived wallet, and this is the owner wallet that you're using. So we actually need to update our docs, because I think this was like the old UI when the owner wallet was on the left and the derived wallet was on the right. But I think in the new UI, the derived wallet is now on the left. I actually ran into this issue earlier today before the call, because I was trying to put in the signer wallet and it wasn't working. So I do actually think this derived wallet is the one you're supposed to put into the API key field. But we don't know. So let me check again. Yeah. Unfortunately, I actually still don't have any portfolio. So yeah, I think let me actually ask agent again. Check Derive spot. I just added it. But yeah, if this doesn't work, I'm going to try this other method where I put in the other address, because maybe I should be putting the signer address here as well. So let's see. Still 0. Okay. Let me see if the audience has any thoughts. And possible I don't have.
Are you sure it's meant to be trader for account type? Because that isn't, like, your account type on Derive would be either a standard margin or portfolio margin. So I'm
okay. Yeah. To be honest, the account type didn't really seem to matter when I was adding it, because I've in our docs it says we should add either trader or market_maker. But to be honest, like our community manager Carlito, who's setting this last night, he was actually putting in standard margin, just like as you were saying. So yeah, so maybe I should put in that. But I actually think this is more of a key issue, because the fact that it doesn't find any accounts is probably the issue. So yeah, let me go ahead and try this again by removing both of these keys. And I'll try to re-add them again using the one that I had earlier. I apologize. I actually thought I had tested this earlier, but apparently all I did was I added the keys. I didn't realize that the portfolio part was something I had to check. All right, so let's try this again. If we actually can't do this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the workshop here, make sure we can actually properly add keys, and then maybe do the second part of this workshop later on once we can actually trade on Derive. All right, so basically, I think I want to make sure one thing, which is maybe, Keza, do you know, for the wallet key, should I be putting in this public wallet address, this public wallet address, or the session key wallet address that we just created?
So I think that you're putting in, let's see, I just pinged one of our engineers to ask it. It says your account would be your Derive wallet and your session key would be your owner wallet.
Okay, well, let's try a few combinations. So I think basically when I first did it, I was putting in this wallet address. So let me actually try putting in this address here, because I'm pretty sure the secret key, I feel like these two should match, which is why I was a bit confused earlier. But yeah, let me pull in my my Derive key again that I just created. So yeah, this now what I'm putting in is a the secret key that matches this session key I just created. The sub account ID, I think, should be this account here, because this account is the one that has the money in it. And then the account type, I'm going to go with what you said and try to put in standard margin here and see if that works. So,
I would try maybe just like the abbreviation SM is.
Okay, SM. Okay, let's
yeah.
Yeah, so actually, this is actually, so yeah, this actually I was finding earlier because I was hitting this error when I was using, yeah, like this address here. So actually, let me try this address here. Let's try this address instead of the first address and see what happens. Okay, yeah, so that's why I'm pretty sure that the public key, I think, does have to be this Derive wallet here. And then the API secret, actually, let me try putting in, instead of doing the session key, let me try putting in the actual secret for the matches this signer wallet. Let me try that. But yeah, I actually apologize because I think this is also incumbent upon us to make sure that we have the proper documentation for this for our users, so you can properly add a Derive wallet. So I do promise we are going to get this fixed before in the next couple of days, so that we can properly show you how to add a Derive key into it. So account type is SM here. SM.
Yes, he says you register the public key of your owner in the Derive app and use the private key in your bot.
Okay. So yeah, so basically I should use a private key for this right here, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually what I had the first time around. So let me try that again. So try that. Right. So yeah, this is added, but let me see here. Yeah, I think part of the issue is for some reason when I do add it, I'm not getting the portfolio here that I should be able to see. So I'll do the same thing again for spots. So wallet key. Okay, API secret. Sim count. And then SM for standard margin. Okay. Actually, I'll try one more thing, which is let me try moving some USDC to the sub account here. Let's try moving, let's say, $10. Actually, $50 over. Insufficient balance. Oh, here, this transfer. Okay, so now we have $50 in sub account. We can also try the sub one and see if that works. So portfolio, still no Derive tokens. Actually, Hummingbot needs a restart to load new credentials. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think, but we can try that. Let me try that just to make sure we can do that. Okay, let's see. I also just in case restart Condor just in case. This shouldn't have any effect, but we'll see. Okay, so now let's try again. So I need to do the web dashboard again. Here we go. Still nothing in Derive, unfortunately. Let me ask. Can I go in? Check one more time. Path is still broken after the restart. Okay. Do I need the private key? Yep, did that. The sub account. Okay. All right. Let me try just one last thing. I'm gonna try one last thing here, which is let me actually. I'm gonna try to remove one of my Derive keys here, and I'll try adding the sub account instead of the main account. So let me go over to Derive. Okay, so I have the wallet key. Okay, the session key, the private key. And then I'm going to try adding this sub account here. And then for account type, put S. Yeah, hey Fede, what do you think? Hello? Yep, can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically you're saying don't use this at all, like the session key. Just use. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, bye. Okay, all right. So yeah, let me check one more thing. Let me go to portfolio. Okay, I actually do have a setup now. So despite all this, we actually did get it working.
Hey.
It looks like actually it was a sub count issue. So apparently, yeah, when I added the sub account, I did see it show up, and for some reason when I added this main account, it did not show up. I'm actually not sure. We'll actually check this. I'm not sure this is actually a limitation on the Hummingbot side or the Derive side. Probably on the Hummingbot side, but yeah, despite all this, we actually did get it set up. So let's go ahead and actually check out what it can do now that we have keys. So check out Derive spot and do you see balances? Okay. All right. Okay. So now we do have 50 USDC in the account. Let me actually go ahead and let me actually do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing as before. Actually, I'll do this. I'm going to move some USDC from here to the sub account. I'll use, let's do another 100. Okay. And then I'm also going to see if we can do the same thing for perpetual, because we did actually have a strategy that is running perpetual. And so let me add the key for perpetual. Let's see if this works. Okay, go to developers, wallet. API key, sub account ID. Sub account SM. Okay, so let's see if we can see our portfolio on Spot and Perpetual. Great. All right, so yeah, it does actually show our account now on Derive Spot as well as on Derive Perpetual. Currently, this portfolio tab doesn't kind of like differentiate between the two, so it does look like we have 150 on both venues, but essentially the same balance that is accessible to both connectors. All right, so that was a bit of a headache, but we debugged and got it running on the fly by just trial and error. And I do think there's lots of improvements we can make to the Derive connector docs. But the good news is, we were able to get it going, and hopefully this provides some information for our QA team and documentation team to update those docs. Okay, so now, Kset, are you ready to actually run some agents?
Now we're ready. Great.
Now we're ready.
Great working through that, Mike.
Thanks. All right, so okay, so now check my Derive Perpetual balances. And so now I think, let's make sure we actually have enough capital in our Derive account to run some issues. So we do have 150 UCC on Derive. So so we did actually create a demo agent for Derive already. It's called Smart Money Flow. Now, as I mentioned before, each agent is a directory in the Condor directory. So if you ever want to see how an agent is really created or what it actually does, you can just open up the folder. And so we can see in the Smart Money folder, this agent has an agent.md file. So it's called Smart Money Flow. What it does is it tries to look at capital positioning on Derive using a variety of sources, and it will try to kind of like basically do something that will do it. So you notice it also has you can also use a custom model. This one uses DeepSeek Flash. It has a set of tools and everything. So this is a good demo agent if you ever want to just try out how it works. Each agent also has various routines it can call. So these are deterministic Python scripts that does one thing all the time. And so the reason why you want your agent to write a routine is because you don't want to spend your LM tokens on things like just fetching data all the time. Instead, ideally, you want it to kind of do one thing all the time. And then it also has skills. So skills are just like agent skills, something that gives it information on how to do something. You can add any skill to an agent, or you can create your own. And finally, an agent has strategies. A strategy is like a specific playbook that it does for one kind of algo trading strategy. And the difference between the agent.md and a strategy is that the agent.md is kind of like the brain. It's like it has context on how to, let's say, trade on Derive, has like information on specifics between different Derive markets, for example. And then the strategy might be something that is executing one specific trading strategy on Derive. So you can actually also talk to an agent. So let's go ahead and open up a Smart Money Flow agent, and let's ask it what it can do. Hey, can you tell me what you can do, and specifically what kind of knowledge you have about Derive? What happened there? Okay. Hello, can you hear this? Can you tell me about what you know about Derive? Okay, this seems to be a bug. All right, let me reload this. me try this again. Oh, interesting. Looks like it's still on this one here. Let me close this chat, and then this one. Okay. All right. Still something wrong. Condor. Let me make stop and restart this again, and then we can try out the actual agent. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. As you can see, it's an open source project. It's still very much a work in progress, but we're committed to ironing all the bugs, even if we're doing so live in front of an audience.
Never a dull moment with a live
never
demo.
Dull moment. Never. Yeah, exactly. You know. All right. Okay. So let's open up the web dashboard again. See how it works. Okay. So now, yeah, we're trying to talk to our smart moneyful agent. What can you do? Okay. Interesting. This actually might be a bug that we introduced fairly recently, because I swear this was actually working for me yesterday when you can talk to specific agents. Hello. Okay, interesting. Now it's going to mirror a launch LP agent. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, so that works. It looks like we can talk to the main Condor agent. Okay, great.
I feel like Claude does this to me sometimes. So maybe
Yeah,
it's the
that's true.
LLM might get too many tabs open and then it just gives up.
You know, that actually might be true. Yeah, it actually might be some type of like Claude issue, because basically we have different sessions that it's managing.
Yeah.
And each session is supposed to have a different agent. Oh, actually, never mind. I actually know why exactly. I know exactly why this isn't working. It's because the agent key here is set up to an agent that I actually don't have. So right now, this agent key defines what model the agent's using. And because I don't actually, I think this is our community manager, Carlito, was the one who set this up. He's using OpenCode. He's using OpenCode Go. So yeah, I think Fede was also going to give you the same information about this. So in order to do this, all you have to do is change the agent key here to your Condor agent. So right now, Condor, my agent is Claude ACP Sonnet. So if I just want to make this work, I'll just go to here, go to agent ID, and then I'm going to change this agent key to ACP Sonnet. I could also change it here. Actually, yeah, that's right. I could have actually changed it here to Sonnet like this, and then yeah. Let me actually restart. Let me restart Condor, and then that should pick it up again as I restart. So let me try this.
I knew that looked like one of the Claude rejects I usually get.
Yes, and actually, yeah, this is exactly what Fede was saying. You're using OpenCode as the default agent. Thank you, Fede. Yes, and this is good. Actually, I'm glad actually we're hitting these bugs live, because yeah, when you're running the demo agents, you'll probably run into the same issues. So hopefully, this workshop will help you resolve them. All right, so let's see. Let's try that again. Hey, can you tell me what you can do and what you know about Derive? Okay, so yeah, it did actually pick up, I think, Derive. It translated my incorrect pronunciation into Derive. Derive, and so yeah, so and because it has information about Derive in the agent.md file, it knows how to do that. So I think one thing we can do here is let's actually try to use as Casey mentioned, there should be some more options information we can use from Derive. Let's do this. Let's try to add a strategy in this in this agent, and we'll try to basically add a new strategy in this smart moneyful agent, and hopefully this new strategy, will use the options API in Derive in some way. So I'm not sure, and I think this is actually, to me, the power of using LLMs with something like Hummingbot, because like I have not looked at the options API for Derive yet. I don't really know even what the endpoints are, but I do think that Claude is smart enough to figure out what it is and at least help me get something that I can work with. So let's try it. Hey, I want to try to build a new strategy that uses the Derive options API to try to infer something about trades I can do on either Derive spot or perpetual. Can you pull their API, do some research, and start building some type of strategy? You decide on what it can do on Derive spot or perpetual. So yeah, so first it's going to go off and do a lot of research. It's going to research what the Derive API looks like, and yeah, it'll try to see what options data are available, and then it will try to formulate some type of strategy. Now, to be honest, like this is probably not going to be some kind of like great, super sophisticated strategy that actually works. And I think the way I think about this is, but eventually, if I iterate on this enough, I might be able to get there. But it's helpful just to have Condor just do something for you, do some research, figure out what the data source you want to pull looks like, and what it should do is pull the documentation, start hitting the API endpoints to figure out what the data are, and now it can basically take that data and start the process of creating an agent. The first thing you should do is probably going to try to write a routine. So we can actually go over to here. If we look on this side here, this tells you the tasks that were delegated to it. So you can actually kind of like delegate some tasks to it and go off and do something else. And if it builds a routine, you'll see the routines show up here as well. So for example, so right now it's looking at SOL options. So hopefully it'll try to do something with SOL options and try to write a routine that can fetch data from the options API. And then it will take the output of that routine and use it in the actual strategy. So yeah, so let's give it a few seconds. But I'm glad we're able to kind of get past the initial setup phase, which took us almost an hour, and get to the real, I think, the meat of what we want to demo in this workshop, which is really what you can do when you combine the power of LLMs with execution and data layer that Hummingbot offers. So yes, it's still looking at this, but it seems like there's actually quite a lot of information that is available via the Derive API. If you ever want to see what it's doing, you can open up this thought thing here, and so you can see exactly kind of like all the thinking that the agent is doing. So you can see like it's trying to get the right format of the endpoints. It's trying to figure out how to fetch open interest. It's looking at what are the other like Greeks and everything else related options that it's access to. And it's basically trying to get all the data it needs to construct a proper response.
Can I ask a question? Or am I going to mess up your?
Of course, yeah. No, okay. Definitely. I welcome any question you may want to ask.
Yeah, I know one of the things we talked about early on is sort of how Condor as a product for you guys can maybe open up other instruments and allow protocols to like provide, I guess, like more in routes for Condor to get smarter and smarter. And I was just wondering like how you guys are thinking about that and what as Derive or really like any protocols should be looking to build on their side to make these things work really well together.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so one thing that we try to do with Condor, and actually this is, we can wait for it to finish, but one thing we try to do with Condor is we try to standardize what the execution layer looks like. And so we have this concept of executors. So each executor is really, it's an abstraction on a trading type. So for example, you can have an order or you can have a grid or you can have what's called an LP executor that does liquidity positions on dexes. But the idea is that each executor results in the same kind of like output. The output is basically it has a trading pair that it trades on. It has a side, buy or sell. It has a P&L and volume. And also there's something called close type, which is when executor closes, what happens to the position afterwards? Is it held or is it kind of like liquidated? So the idea behind this, and the reason we do this, is to allow you to do different things on different exchanges, but you're creating the same performance data essentially. So what this does is, it allows you to backtest. So you can take a strategy. If a strategy is always trading with executors, you can take historical data and say, just replay that on historical data and see what happened. And then B, what it also allows you to do is do, let's say, an LP executor on Solana, an order executor on Derive, a grid executor on Binance, and they'll all end up in the same table with the same features. So I think that the easy thing to do is, let's say if Derive want to support options, I think the first part is kind of just building the endpoints, just adding the endpoints into Hummingbot, which actually that part is actually pretty straightforward. But I think the trickier part is like, how do we create an options like executor so that that kind of Condor can like basically run that executor and have it show up using the same kind of table that is here. So that's one way. You could also there are also kind of more direct ways you can do this without executors. We actually did create, for example, when we created the Meteor launch LP agent, we created a tool in Condor that just calls the Meteor create pool endpoints directly. And so then it's like kind of bypassing the executor stack and just like calling the tool directly. So I think both methods are viable if you want to, let's say, support options or some other instruments. It's just more about like kind of like how it fits within the current framework of what we have with Condor. Because Condor is kind of new, we're trying to kind of really focus on, as you can tell, the user experience and just making sure that the basics work before we kind of like offer like a surface for other people to build and add other things to it. But because Condor and Hummingbot are open source, there's really nothing that prevents you from kind of creating your own fork that is of Hummingbot. And if it's kind of like, if it fits in, we can always merge that fork into either the Condor side or the Hummingbot side later on.
Let's see what I can clod up. That's very cool.
I should also mention the other. I think the kind of the other thing you can do. This is kind of a bit of a hack. Is I think this routines primitive is much more flexible, because a routine, this is just like a Python file that does something. Usually we use it to fetch data for an agent, but you can actually also execute trades on it as well. So if you just want to create something very simple that people can run in Condor, you can probably create like an options specific routine here that just like does something, and then it actually might even be able to execute trades. So you may want to just check out how these sample routines work and try to clod up a routine that like analyzes options on Derive and also executes trades using options.
That's awesome. That's great.
Okay, so let's go back to our agent. It looks like it did do something. And yeah, as I mentioned, like one of the things that we try to have the agents do is always start by writing a routine. And the reason is because what's going to happen is this agent will be ticking every loop. And if it writes the same kind of Python code every single tick, and it's going to waste a lot of tokens and slow things down. So after it kind of like understands a data source like this options API, what it's trained to do is write a routine. So here's a routine that I wrote here, and this routine is going to output some type of report. So this report says, if you're trading on the sole perp pair, based on the options data, here is the kind of like the signal that's getting like from the options data. I guess it's the top level is that it's saying nothing's like super. There's no kind of like obvious signal right now, but you can see like what are the sub signals that are feeding into this composite signal. I guess here are some options related data, and yeah, some other things related options that frankly I don't really understand. If you want to see exactly how the routine works, you can go to the routines tab, select the agent that you're building it for. So I think it's Smart Money Flow, and so we can see this this agent, this routine here in more detail. This was the same report that we just saw, and here is a source code for the routine that it wrote. So here, this is basically this is just Python code that ingests data and outputs some type of HTML report and also other structured data. It's not loading for some reason. Let me load this again. Maybe it was too new. Okay, all right. We may have to look at this as well. So we can configure this routine. So yeah, this is flexible. So we can actually run this routine and add in, let's say, another instrument. So let me try adding ePerp and see what it does. Okay, so yeah, so here's the same report for ETHOCC, and then we have also the one that we ran for SolUTC. So these routines can be used outside of agents. You can just kind of schedule and run these agents yourself. You can also set it up to notify. If I pass in my Telegram user ID here, it's going to send me a message on Telegram every interval. So like every minute, every day. So we actually use it internally for daily reports about the different bots that our QA team runs to test the different connectors. And we find it really valuable because all we have to do is send a report to a Telegram group that we all share, and all of us can get visibility on how, like, basically how our bots are doing. So I think this routine permitted is actually pretty useful outside of the agent. But we can see that, so now basically it's run this agent, and it's also created a strategy. So the strategy itself is sitting in the strategies folder. So let's see, did it actually write the strategy? Actually, looks like it did not write the strategy yet. Okay. All right. So now let me say, build a strategy. So to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what kind of strategy we want to build, but now that we have this options data and we have it producing some type of signal, there should be some type of strategy that we can build from it. So it's going to, it's going to, let's see, okay. Let me stop this. No, actually, so check out the structure of the PMM Mister agent and how it separates the strategy from the agent. So try to adopt the same philosophy. You may actually need to change the agent.md file in Smart Money Flow, or you can also create a separate agent dedicated to trading options on Derive if you wish. So yeah, part of this is because I'm talking to the Smart Money Flow agent. So it thinks it can only use the Smart Money Flow agent. I actually think the better way to do this would likely be talking to the main Condor agent, which is, so it's kind of like you're not constrained to what an agent is already doing. But I kind of sensed it was going to go in the wrong direction when, based on what it was telling me in a thought. And so now I'm trying to have it go and kind of like take a higher level approach and just probably build and study another agent structure in order to copy that one instead of the current one I'm using. But yeah, and one of the reasons I'm doing this because I want to make sure that what we're doing here is we're properly separating what's in the agent.md file, which is the brain. That part should probably be like understanding how options work, how to call the options API, all that kind of stuff. And what we really should probably be doing is creating an agent called options, Derive options expert. And then underneath that agent, there should be a set of strategies. Maybe one is like using options data to trade perps. Another one is doing some basis trade versus like options and spot. But yeah, that's kind of separation is kind of what I recommend for if you're building an agent. So you see what it's thinking here.
How long would this take you to write a bot to do this?
Yeah, I wouldn't even try, honestly. In the old days, this would be like weeks of work, honestly, because first you have to understand the API, then you have to write a strategy, but then you have to like test the strategy out, see if it actually has validity. Then you have to forward test it live using real capital. So there's all these steps in the process that I think are just really complicated. I actually have I'm probably going to write a blog post about this, but to me, it's like, I'll kind of explain this while we wait, but to me, it's like what makes Claude really effective in coding is that it's following this coding agent loop. And the 4 steps of the coding agent loop are like, first, it understands what your intent is. Second, it reads the files it has locally. Third, it will make changes to those files. And fourth, it will test if those changes actually match your intent, maybe by writing unit tests or by actually opening a browser and checking if the feature like match everything else. If it doesn't match, which likely it won't, it will just go through this loop over and over again and continue to figure out your intent, read files, edit files, test changes. I think the same type of loop is what we're trying to build for trading agents with Condor, because it's like basically what I'm doing here is I'm just giving an intent. And so the first thing it's trying to do is from my intent, figure out what the strategy is. So that's step 1. Step 2 is getting the data that it needs to actually assess the strategy. In our example, this was calling the options API in Derive, and then fetching that data and turning it into some type of routine. The third step would be, what it should be, is taking the strategy, writing the strategy down in code, and then doing some type of back testing. Like we have historical data from Derive on options. We should be able to actually back test the strategy and see if it actually makes sense. And the final step is to actually run that strategy live with a small amount of money and forward test it. So it's kind of like, so we're not quite there yet, but I have this vision of like, we should be able to have the same 4 steps that coding agents do, but have the steps apply to trading agents. And just like coding agents, in the last step, forward testing almost rarely matches what you have the back test, what you have in the strategy itself. And so there should be some type of continuation process where the agent can say, okay, it didn't do exactly what I thought. Let me go and reformulate the strategy. Let me go and collect more data. Let me go and do more back testing. Let me do more forward testing. And hopefully, with lots of iterations, you should have some type of really sophisticated working strategy you can deploy with serious amounts of capital. So that's kind of the vision. We're not quite there yet, but I do think that if we just iterate upon the harness we have, we can need to work with partners like you guys to try to make sure that the strategy people build, are effective and they're unique. I do think we'll eventually get there.
Yeah, it's really just wild how much it does. It's super cool. Wow.
Thanks. All right, so we did actually create our agent this time. And so one thing I think you'll see, I think that it looks like it probably modified the agent.md file as well. Before, this agent.md was more kind of like basic, and now it has a lot more information on how options work on Derive. For example, these different flows that it has access to, the API reference if it needs. And so now this is, I'll probably rename this agent, something like Derive options trade. It's also created a strategy for us. It's created a strategy called options oracle operator. And this one will use the routine that we created called options flow, the signal that it did, and then it's going to do something related to these. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change I'm going to change the ACP key here from OpenCode to Sonnet here. And so to make sure that we can actually run the strategy. But then basically the strategy is going to, every tick, it will call the options routine. It will decide some action, whether to hold, long, or short. And then if it decides to enter, it'll size the position, enter it, manage the position, it'll write down in the journal what happened, and then it'll keep on operating in loop. So did it. And just to close things off, YOLO, let's go ahead and run the strategy using real capital.
It's always my strategy. Just go for it.
Just go for it. Yeah, So I would not recommend this if you're really building a strategy, but this is for a demo. We just gotta do some live trading in every demo we're doing. So I need to actually just let's give it a shot and see if Condor can actually do some real trading for us. Okay, so it's going to use $50, about 150 amount of capital, with max position 50. So it's going to enter one position, so basically it's going to do every tick. Now it's going to tick. So every tick is going to do something every 4 hours. That's crazy. Why is it every 4 hours? That's a long time. The 4-hour cadence. Okay, I'm not sure exactly why it's so long, so also I should mention, once you do start an agent, you can go to this manage command here. This kind of takes you into the agent view. And so you can see we have one live agent already. And you can click on this agent to see exactly what it's doing in terms of the agent. So this agent has a playbook. And once it starts writing ticks, you also see the different ticks it has here in the session. So right now this session is running, the session 1. And right now we don't have any snapshots yet. But every tick, it will, you can have a snapshot, which is exactly, you can see like all the information passed to the LLM, what decision it took, and any output. So this is really kind of adds a bit more observability into what the agent is doing that you can follow if you have a running agent. Okay, so actually it did actually do tick 1 already. So let's see, so here was tick 1. So this is I'll probably end here because it'll probably take a bit of time to actually tune the strategy to get it to trade, given that it's telling the signal is showing a hold. But I do want to show one last thing, which is this is actually what you're going to see when you diagnose how an agent runs. So an agent runs in a session. Every session, it will have a bunch of ticks, and so every tick, what it's doing is taking this system prompt. The system prompt is comprised of the agent system prompt, the agent.md file. So actually, first is the Condor system prompt, which is this part here. You are an autonomous trading agent running Condor. It also has the agent.md file. So this part here is the domain identity for the agent. And then it also has the strategy.md file. So the strategy itself that it is running, which is the strategy instructions. And so every tick, it will pass this context to the LM. It will get back some response. And the typical response is some type of decision that the agent has made in conjunction with the model. And here, the decision was to hold, but it could be to execute a position, or it could be to cancel a position. And then you can also see what the tool calls the agent made, and also the executors and the risk state that it is in. So essentially, this is kind of like how we've designed this trading agent, which is like, it's not a general purpose agent. It's something that passes instructions to the LM. It has a limited set of tools it can call, and the output is something that is either running executors, or it's doing something else and has a state in terms of risk. So this has a frequency. I believe it right now. I'm not sure exactly what the frequency is. Let me actually check the agent. So this strategy is going to has a frequency of, this is actually pretty long. So yeah, like for some reason, when designing agent, this was setting like a 4-hour tick size. So the second tick won't actually happen until 4 hours from now. But you can change this frequency to anything you like. Could be 60 seconds, could be 5 minutes, or something else. And so yeah, for the next demo, I'll probably try to make sure that the frequency is something shorter, like 1 minute, to make sure it goes faster. But the slower the frequency, that might also fit if you're running like a long-term, rebalancing strategy where you don't want to be constantly calling the LM all the time. This really depends on the frequency of the strategy itself. But every tick, it will produce the same type of snapshot page that allows you to inspect exactly what was sent to the LM and what decision the agent actually made. So that's a session, and then you can run multiple sessions. And the idea is that across all the sessions, any kind of learnings that the agent learned, you'll write them down in a learnings.md file, which hopefully helps improve the strategy over time. So every strategy, I think, has it has a learning. So this learning here, which at the strategy level, after you run the agent, after you run the strategy a lot, what you should see is more and more information is populated in the learnings. All right, well, I think that pretty much ends the demo part of the presentation. I hope you guys learned how agents work, and I really encourage you to really understand how Derive works, because I think the best way to create an agent that is be selected to race for Derive is to use the Derive specific API, like the options API. Look at how their other documentation works instead of like Spot Perpetual, and try to build an agent that is really using the surface area of what Derive has. Okay. Yeah. So actually, I see some information here that KSET has had. Let me answer a question from KSET. I think, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, I can share. I just wasn't sure what the audience's feelings were on this. So something that I think a lot about, because a lot of the work that I do and the way that I use AI is proprietary, like both for what we're doing at Derive, but also for like my own knowledge base and hard fought learn skills in trading and market making and options. And so one of the things that I think about with language models is sort of the using it for my own use versus using it for training other people's use and training public models. And I know it's market making firms and big ones, like it's always the secret sauce that they don't want out there. So I was wondering how you guys manage that, and is there an option to disable training the model with my own testing, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. And actually, I think this actually speaks to Hummingbot's design philosophy, because we've always been a local client. It's a piece of software you download from GitHub. You add in your keys, and you can basically run that on your own stack, and you have full control of what data you're sending out or in. We're taking the same approach here with Condor as well. So by default, what it does is it looks at what models you have locally. So for me, because I use Claude all the time, I connect it to Claude. However, if you have a local model for example, if you're using like Llama, there's actually an option to connect a local model that is just like, and actually nowadays with open source models, I think actually one of our team members, David, he's actually running his own local model in a machine. You do need a bigger machine to do this. I think you need probably 32 gigabytes or 40 gigabytes of RAM, but it is definitely possible to run Condor using a local model, so that all the data is only stored internally. You're not sending it out anywhere in the cloud. That way, the only execution, all you're sending out are the trade execution, trades you're doing, but all the decision making, everything else is localized.
Oh, that's great. So you can keep it like completely kind of internal and keep your secret,
that's right. Yeah.
Hard fought trading strategies internal.
Yeah, and just to show this, so this is kind of like, actually, I'll show my screen one last time, which is, if you look at kind of like how the Condor agent works over here, if you run something like make install, this allows you to select the models that you're using. And you can see one of the options here is Llama default model or Elm Studio default model. So this assumes that you're running some local model. That model is on the default endpoints for these providers, and you can just use that model alongside Condor.
Oh, okay. That's great. And then if you're using like a Claude and you change your training settings, maybe that also.
Yes, yeah, that's also possible. Yeah, I'm sure Claude has an option to not send data outside. That's also possible as well. But
although I'm not that confident.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest. I never trust any of these billionaire to do stuff with the model. But I would say we really try to design Condor in the same way we did Hummingbot, which is it's free, it's open source, and it's kind of like model agnostic and kind of like exchange agnostic. It's really intended to be just like a local harness that allows you to do whatever you want.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and definitely fighting through the early setup as well. This has been super cool to watch, and I'm not a developer, so in case that wasn't obvious. So it's really fun to see tools that I can use in my own universe.
No, thank you. And I really appreciate all the support from Derive. And I think we'll try to do our best to support kind of like options and things like that in the future, or at least at the very least allow a surface that allows a developer from Derive to bolt on or attach a module that allows people to trade options using Condor.
Yeah, that's great. Excited to see what you guys come up with in the competition and what kind of bots come about.
Yeah. So I would say I think we are going to have a resources section dedicated for each team. So we'll be updating the site with things like that, which allow us to kind of like. So, thank you everyone for tuning in, and as I mentioned, the next workshop I'll definitely put together a Derive specific song about what you can do with Derive and Condor.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mike.